Hey everyone, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. We are excited to be talking about the next gen form builder. We really are excited about what we've been doing for a long time here and to get it in your hands as soon as we possibly can. Before we do that, we want to show you our progress and talk a little bit about it and what we have in store and what you can expect over the next few months. That's right, months, not like a year or anything, like months. I am Matt Cromwell, one of the co-founders of GiveWP, and I do marketing and operations at Stellar WP now. And I'm joined today by our Director of Development, Jason Adams. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, how's it going? As Matt said, I'm the Manager of Development at GiveWP. Live out in sunny San Diego, where it is much warmer than the rest of the country. So sorry, most everybody. I know it's super cold right now, but really happy to be here and excited to share everything that we have been working really hard on for, especially Kyle and John are in the crowd, and we've been working hard on this for almost a year now. Pretty amazing.
Excellent. I'm excited about it. And if you have questions or comments or anything, then please try to drop them into the Q&A area. You can also drop them into chat. We'll be checking everywhere we can. You'll see in the chat here, Camber is with us. Camber is one of our excellent marketers helping get the word out and everything. So watch out for that as well. And I would love to jump in and show you what we got. So I'm going to share my screen. For those of you who haven't been following along quite yet, we are building some brand new ways to generate donation forms. And this right here is, if you are already a Give user, then this is what you're familiar with. This is where you build a form in GiveWP. And you can see that we've added some nice form templates. And once you choose your form template, you're then presented with some options for that template. And the way that we have been describing this is basically filling out a form in order to create a form. And the challenge of that experience is that you don't really see what you're building until you hit publish and go and take a look at it. And that's one of the biggest problems that we want to solve for you, is to give you a visual way to build your form and see it as you're building it out. With no further ado, this is where we're at right now. Da, 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 da. We did do a town hall like this back in the fall, and we were sharing some progress. And honestly, the time from then to now is actually pretty dramatic. We've actually done quite a lot of work. The interface overall should be something you're relatively familiar with. It's definitely built off of the Gutenberg framework. We've been writing about that on our blog quite a bit, about how we're leveraging the Gutenberg code base to build out this form builder. The whole look and feel of it has been really dramatically cleaned up and improved quite a lot. But like, one of the big aspects of Gutenberg is definitely the way that you can control the form here. You can go into the block level and update things there. And we also have on the left-hand side this list view, we're calling it, which honestly with Gutenberg, a lot of folks don't recognize that that's available because it's usually off by default. But I find it to be a highly valuable aspect of how to navigate through the form or a page or a post as well with Gutenberg. So this is where we're at so far. A couple of things I want to highlight for us today. You'll see that each of the forms is broken up into sections. And that's really an important aspect of how forms are built and constructed in GiveWP. And what we have also now is the ability to add a new section. You'll see here that if you click in between the sections, then your biggest option is to add a new section. And that's on purpose for things like a multi-step form and things like that. That would be each step would be represented by a section in particular. But the other one you see is in this top section here. You'll see that we have all of these form options, the donation levels, and you can add new donation levels, and you'll see them actually happen directly on the page as you go. This one is really important. We're going to have lots of opportunities for folks to give us feedback in the future, but I'm going to get rid of it for now. And of course, we can delete options. Let's go big or go home, right? Like $100 minimum. You can add another level. Also the title. Oops. Oh, that's a little bit of a quirk. The focus keeps jumping out of the field every time I hit the space bar. That's interesting. I had an experience.
You also just click right on the title.
You also write in here, right?
Yeah, you can just change it right in there as well.
It's jumping out there as well. Interesting.
Huh. Let's make a note.
Yep. Other options, here's again a new section, and you'll see the title and the description here, just the same as up there. Now we have our first name and our last name, and here you could see options that you're familiar with the current form builder as well, like show the prefix or not. And to me, this option is available in the form today, but the way that it has this ability to add additional ones here, I think is really powerful and really useful, and it shows up there automatically for you. First name and first name. There you go.
One is no. One of those is the placeholder. The other one is the label. There you go.
First name, last name. Perfect. Let's require the last name. We'll go to the email address. Everybody email that one today, make that required. Advanced is what Gutenberg has automatically, where you can give custom CSS class names to each individual field. That's for some really advanced styling if you like. And I think what's also really great is we're going to add another block. And you could see here that we have several additional options. And these are custom fields that you'd be adding directly into the form. Like, let's say, t-shirt size. Small, medium, large, etc. And what's great about the way we're supporting custom fields right now as well is, do you want to see this in the admin area, like in the donation detail screen, for example? Or do you want it to see this actually in the receipt as well? When you submit your donation, you'll be able to show that the t-shirt size was reflected in their donation as well, and that'll show up as a line item in there. And you could turn that on and off as you like. This ability to add custom fields is something that we have supported for a long time through our Form Field Manager add-on. But if you've dealt with our support at all, they provide a lot of custom snippets for you to add custom fields yourself. And the ability to include that custom field in the donation details screen and the donation receipt takes additional functions and things like that. We've actually been cleaning that up over the last year or so, making that easier and easier to do. And now with the Next-Gen Form Builder, it's just a toggle, turn it on, turn it off, and you're all set. Another really smart thing here is let's add a company field. That's another great field that we often have in donation forms. And if I add a company field, I can't add a company field again. And I think that's really important. You can't add the donor name again. You can't add an email again. You can't add multiple payment gateways. Adding multiples of things like that can really break your form. So we're really trying to make sure that you can add all the necessary additional fields that you need to, but any of them that are really one-off fields are really prevented from being added multiple times. I think that's a really helpful, beneficial aspect there. Then we get down to the payment details screen. And this has very similar features of the payment details title, the description, and there are going to be some options on this as well. But right now I have test donation, offline donation, and Stripe credit card enabled on this form. And I'm going to show those in action in just a little bit. You can see that you can add additional blocks in here, like, for example, the donation summary, which I think is a great aspect. We're going to put it up above the credit card fields so folks can see that. And you can notice that if we do add that donation summary, again, you can't add it twice. So I see Jason madly taking notes on some fun little quirks we're popping up all along the way. Live demos are always fun, and we always find new things every time. Cool, so that honestly should get everyone caught up to where we were essentially, more or less, up to our last town hall. And you should see a lot of new polish, and the styles coming together a lot nicer, a lot more interface improvements. Everything is really coming together really great. Jason, any additional comments on the form builder itself directly before we jump into the big reveal of our fun next big feature?
I might have been taking a note. Did you point out the store as donor information? So if you go to t-shirt size,
yeah,
and go down to the advanced.
Oh yeah, that's
there's
right.
now a little toggle there where people have asked in the past, like, they want to store this as either part of the donation. So if you go view the donation, this shows up as, the t-shirt size would belong with the donation. Or if you want it to belong as the donor, so later when you go view the donor, this would show up in their data. Now with just that toggle, you can determine whether this custom field either associates with the donor or donation.
I'm really glad you pointed that out. That's a super addition for sure. Just so everyone's following along, the t-shirt size, when you want to see what the t-shirt size is in the admin area, you're actually going to go to the donor details screen in this case, because we've enabled this as donor meta and not donation meta. That's a really good distinction, because when you're collecting information like this, even their company name, but perhaps these things you might want to store instead as related to the person, not related specifically to the donation itself. See some good Q&A popping up. Let me see. Tara Collins says, when does this go live? Wouldn't we all like to know the answer to that question, Tara? I mean, that is part of why we're here too, is to give you a heads up. We're going to talk a little bit more about the road forward at the very end. So watch for that for sure. And then, does this replace Form Field Manager? That's a really good question as well. Not exactly. We're trying to bridge the gap between, like, currently in the free plugin, there's only a couple, there's really no custom fields available in the free plugin. And then you have Form Field Manager where all of the custom fields are currently. And we kind of want to bridge the gap between those two a little bit. We're going to give you some ability to add some basic custom fields into the free plugin, but Form Field Manager is really going to be more about adding really much more advanced fields, and also the conditional logic that we introduced recently is going to stay in Form Field Manager, things like that. So we're excited to be able to bring new features into the free plugin that allows folks to have additional custom fields, but it's not going to fully completely replace Form Field Manager. Jason, any other comments on that one in particular? I think I summarized that about accurately.
No, yeah, that's a great summary. I mean, yeah, the biggest thing that is being brought right into core from Form Field Manager is simply the ability to add fields, and even more powerful than Form Field Manager, because Form Field Manager right now, you can only select one spot in the form for all of your fields to be injected. Whereas
Yep.
now you have complete control over not just fields that you add, but every other field in the form.
That's right. I didn't actually highlight that. You could see, just like with Gutenberg, I'm going to move this first and last name around. There's actually a lot of form abandonment types of tools and whatnot out there that would say that you should always try to grab the email address first. Maybe you want to do that. So you can put email address first. And t-shirt size, that's way more important than your name. So I'm just kidding. But you can move these around however you like. If we were really desperate, here's a real test. Can I move this into the payment details area, Jason?
Yes.
I'm gonna break things. Oh, it's trying so hard. There it is. Oh. Did I get it? No, I didn't. Hold on.
You can also.
I will say I've seen this be problematic in Gutenberg often. I don't think it's unique to us. Almost there. It won't quite come in. Let's do it this way.
I think it'll stop at the bottom there. You can do it in the list view, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, there we go. Oh, almost. Nope, still not quite wanting to get in there.
I think that may be a quirk of Gutenberg, since the donor name is locked. There you go. So yeah, it's because the donor name is a locked field. So there's some fun as we've built this out, we've actually been able to, we've been taking notes of ways we can contribute back to Gutenberg, which is what this is built on top of, the block editor. And we've already submitted changes to the block editor to help make improvements to that as well. So, we're pushing the envelope of what they thought of when they built Gutenberg. And so we're able to contribute back and say, hey, did you think of this situation? And so that's another one of those fun ones.
Yeah, this one where I'm losing the focus is
yeah, that's
gonna drive me nuts. That's a fun one. We'll have to fix that.
Yeah,
I can hear Kyle typing right now.
That's funny.
Okay, I won't put you all through that, but I wanted to make another section and oops. Fun stuff. There we go. Nice. Cool. All right, that's where we're at. Let's see. Next one from Scott Lewis. The advanced CSS classes will be much easier to leverage. Oh, Scott, have we got some news for you? Scott's talking about customizing the look and feel of the form, and that's true. CSS classes will help for sure. We got even more to show you. So let me jump into that. Next big reveal is we have made huge progress on what we have been calling design mode, or the design tab. You could see it over here if you've been looking closely. And what this does is lets you have this is really just the bones and the framework of your form, the bare minimum skeleton of what it is, specifically the layout of the fields and all of that. But what does it actually look like? And can you switch out templates and things like that? That's something we've been really excited and working on hard. And here it is, design mode. Dun, da, da. Yay. Switching over to design mode, you get to see exactly what your form looks like on the screen. You see when I switch over, it switches back because it wants me to be able to update my fields and whatnot. I'm going to try to stay in design mode as much as I can. And you'll notice right away that in contrast to our classic form where you choose templates, here we're going to have form designs. And right now we're just experimenting. We're focusing first on classic, which is our most recent template. And the other one that we have here is just called developer, because it just is going to be a contrast. It's like, again, the bare minimum. It's basically just a naked form with little to no styles on it at all. And you can see how even in design mode here, I have my custom section. It's all misspelled and whatnot wonderfully. That donation summary is here. T-shirt size is way in this weird spot where it shouldn't be, but I put it there. And it's even showing a preview of what the payment gateways look like here with the big donate button. Everything looks great. Moving back over to Classic. You can see I already have some donations here. We have our nice big hero section. Things are looking great. And we have my help us section. We have a heading here. Notice right here that this section here, this heading, this is actually unique to the Classic design. Right, Jason? That's what we're talking about.
No, all forms have that header section now of basically being able to share information about the progress of the form and all that good stuff.
But what I mean is, in this case, this section is what we're seeing in design mode, not in the raw block area.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, these are design settings.
It's related to the design of the form itself and not related to the layout of the form. This section up here is a lot, basically like a marketing section in many ways. And so these settings here are unique to the way that this form is designed. Yeah. And there are these different settings related to design mode. I think I actually have this screen throttled, which is why it's going so slow at the moment. Apologies real quick. Yes, I sure do.
It's like, man, it's usually a lot faster than this.
It is. And it was, I was doing some testing earlier and so I had it slowed down. So you could turn off the show heading. Might have to refresh in order to, or turn off the show description as well. I might have to refresh my screen in order for that throttling to turn.
Publish and refresh, yeah.
And refresh.
So to be clear, everybody, it is normally much faster than that, but he was using throttling, which simulates a really, really slow connection.
It's also in a local environment, so let me make sure it's actually turned off. Okay. Nice. We have our color pickers here as well. So you can choose lots of different colors. Somewhat minty Christmassy. We have settings here. The progress bar is pretty small. So what I might do is make the goal a little bit smaller. There we go. We have our enable goal. We can disable the goal, of course. We can auto close the form. We can change it to number of donations instead of the amount. These are all features that you're familiar with. We're going to get 25,000 donations. That's a lot of donations. You see it all updating live on the screen. Really excited about these updates.
Can you click on the colors, like click on primary color and show? So just click on primary.
Yep.
And then click on like where it says vivid red at the top there.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Folks were asking, can you set it to any color? And yes, you can set it to any color, put in your own hex, make it match your exact brand colors.
Nice. Another question from Scott, will these forms work with peer-to-peer as well? Yes.
Yeah, we'll be getting into like specific peer-to-peer integration. We have big plans for peer-to-peer as well. And we'll be doing that after the 3.0 launch. But
Yep.
yes, peer-to-peer is very much on our page. As a note as well, while we're talking about colors, the colors are just the colors. So when you change between form design, so if Matt, if you were to switch back into the developer form design. Nope, in design mode.
Sorry. Oh yeah, the develop form design. Yep.
So you'll notice like now that color is being used to for the payment, the amount buttons there. So one thing we really wanted to do was to make it where somebody could set their primary and secondary colors to their brand and then switch between different form designs. And as you're changing between the form design, your colors are going to consistently be used. So you get to, so instead of like changing the form design and then changing your colors, changing the form design, changing your colors again, it's locked in between the form designs. So as you're looking at all the different form designs that will ultimately be providing, you get to see what it's going to look like in your exact brand colors.
Nice.
And we can switch back to classic. It's so much nicer looking.
So much nicer at the moment. Yep. All right. So Scott earlier, well, let's see. Scott's also asking, Scott is the good question giver. Other folks need to jump in. Don't let Scott take up all the room. Will the designs pick things up like default colors and fonts from the theme JSON and Gutenberg? Very developer-y question. Very good one though. I believe that color picker is the default Gutenberg color picker. Yes.
Yeah. So when you click on primary color, that like the color palette that you have there, right now this is just the default. But if you had a theme.json that's setting your theme's color palette, then those colors would show up there as well.
Nice. That's excellent.
It's just a fallback if you don't have that defined.
Yep. And there are some plugins that also manage that as well that do a good job. And I've tested those out before with this color picker, and it picks those up really well in case you're not familiar with theme.json and things like that. Good question. Can a form be saved as a draft? I just published and didn't see draft option. I don't believe we have draft option at the moment, right, Jason?
No, but certainly, yeah, certainly will be able to, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Good questions. Keep them coming, folks. We'll keep answering as it comes along. I want to jump over, I had hinted earlier that we have lots of customization options in design mode, including even ways to do custom styling. So Jason has pinged me with some fancy CSS styles that I'm going to copy and paste, because you'll notice down here, custom styles shows up. You can even open this up in a modal if you wanted. I'm not going to. There it is. Oh my goodness. Fanciness. Look at that. Lots of fun with gradients. So it's changed the whole header to be a gradient. I want to get the heading and the description up there, just to emphasize that gradient even more. That looks cool. This background is also a big long gradient as well, if you could see. This isn't necessarily the nicest presentation of a form. I picked a really ugly rust color to just highlight this stuff. But I love the way that what this snippet highlights is actually using, if you're familiar with CSS, then you can see it's using CSS variables, using the GiveWP primary color. Instead of just overriding everything, it's actually pulling from the primary color and the secondary color.
Right, so if you
And
change the
making things
primary
happen.
color now, like it
Yeah.
will be reflected. Oh, that's gonna be great looking.
I'm just keeping it going. This is gonna look so good. Pink and orange. Oh my goodness. This is gonna, that's not bad.
That's actually, I think it's better.
So that's one that was shared with me. I got another one here. Oh, Camber likes this color palette. All right, we're hitting on it.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Look at that goal. This layout probably doesn't work so great with combined with the goal. We could turn that off. But that is cool how we have so much control over the layout of the form just with some fancy CSS. That looks really nice, actually.
And one like little design note for the developers in the crowd, like what's actually constraining this right now, making it look squished, is that the width in the block editor is set to 720 pixels. If we were to view this on the front end, it would actually look wider. It's just being scrunched by how we're looking at it in the block editor right now.
Which we can do. Let's check out how it looks on the front end. Dun, dun, dun.
Slightly wider.
That.
But you could, now it's the theme
Actually,
scrunching it, but like you can make it, however
yeah,
much wider we want.
I
But
actually did constrain this max width in the theme because I wanted it a little bit more narrow.
oh yeah. But yeah, with this like particular snippet, we really just wanted to show that like it's not just like, oh, I can change the colors or fonts or something, but like this is full CSS control, and you can change it however you want. You can change the layout, you can do all sorts of things. The other thing that's really nice about this is that because everything is loading inside of an iframe, like it's guaranteed that whatever styles you put in here are going to look exactly that we're going to look wherever you use this. I don't know what root G is. It's not a color.
It's not pasting for some reason.
But so yeah, wherever you're doing this, it's the styles are going to look exactly the way they are. And then even for the developers, like if you noticed when he was pointing out the custom styles, like the CSS is the selectors are very, very simple. You don't have to fight using important and like all this other hacks to make stuff work. Like it's really, really simple CSS, and all of the styles that we're applying using in our form designs or wherever, they're all very, very intended to be very lightweight as well, because we want these forms to be easily customizable. Because I know that's not always been the case for multi-step or classic right now. It's a lot harder to make those changes when you do add CSS. And so that was something we really wanted to make a lot easier of an experience for developers. And just simply those with some basic CSS knowledge.
Awesome. Your wish is my command, Camber. You throw colors at me, I make it happen. We provoke some more questions. Oh, Scott's following up real quick. Wasn't asking about the palette. I'm asking about the default color before I open the palette. I think that's what we were discussing.
No, I mean, I think right now the default color is just like hard coded, but Scott, the heart of what you're asking though is like, as WordPress as a whole is moving towards like theme.json and full site editing and all that, we are very much interested in making sure that we play nicely with the new direction that themes are going with the theme.json. So things like fonts, colors, default colors, that sort of thing. Like, yes, we're very much interested in making sure that we continue to integrate with that properly. So as you switch themes, you're or work within your theme, it's a good unified experience.
Yeah. Tara asks, how do we do that gradient again? I will say there are a lot of different Gutenberg-powered themes and whatnot that support doing gradients, having two colors and being able to just create a gradient like this just by picking these two colors. We're not there quite yet for the way that we're doing this, but the way that we made it happen right here is with custom CSS. And that is a little bit more of an advanced option, Tara, but it is available. So you can see right here, this line of code right here is doing that whole entire gradient for us. It's a linear gradient, and it starts with the primary color and moves into the secondary color. So a little bit of an advanced option, but it's absolutely totally doable. If you just paste this 3 lines into your custom styles and then pick your colors however you like, you'll get the gradient that you want. Scott also asks, would the same CSS work for multiple forms if added in the customizer or child theme CSS file, or does it have to be done in the designer to work in the iframe? Good question. Jason, what do you say?
So it's not going to come in via the customizer or child theme CSS because it's loading inside of an iframe. It's intentionally acting outside of that. And I know for some people, like the iframe thing is a pain point, but our goal is to both make these forms look great anywhere, and that is extraordinarily hard to do with the literally infinite amount of themes and plugins out there. So using the iframe allows us to say, we promise this is going to look good, and then giving everybody a way of being able to modify that. So you can do that both here in the in design, and the other thing you can do is you can also make your own form design. So Matt, if you scroll back to the top there with the little form design drop down. So if you wanted, you could easily just make your own, and then you can use that same form design on multiple forms. And so now that is going to look, it'll look good wherever you are, and you have full control of that. So if you were wanting to go that route, that would probably be my recommendation, would be to make a custom form design and then use that on the forms that you want to have look the same.
Nice. Yeah, that's one capability that I'm really excited about, is not only that, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to roll out this developer design. Maybe we'll call it vanilla or like no style or something like that, that you would be able to choose that and then just paste your own CSS down here and have whatever you like. That's one great option, but what Jason's also pointing to is that you'll be able to, as a developer, have your Scott Lewis form design that's unique to you or your organization, the refugee tutoring form design, and it'll be listed here and available, and you'll be able to switch through to any of them that you like. I think that's tons of potential there. Tara says, is there a way to see how this looks on mobile? Absolutely. One thing that is cool about the customizer, which really, let's be honest, customizer is great and everything, but WordPress is trying to make it go away eventually. But the best way to see it really on mobile is to just go into your browser, and especially with something like Chrome, with the inspector, you can switch over to different types of views and be able to adjust and see how things go. This has a minimum width though, is that right, Jason?
The form itself, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much responsive styling we've done at this point for this classic template. Probably not a lot. That's So
Yeah.
don't worry, like it's very much on our radar to make sure this looks good on mobile. But right now, that's the easy part. The hard part is making the whole darn thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I remember right, I think the iframe resizes on page load primarily. So I think, no, there's definitely a minimum width going on
No,
here.
it will be responsive.
Yeah.
You won't have to like refresh or anything like that to make that work.
Yep. Cool. Scott is typing in, or Jason's typing an answer. The ability to make our own form solves my need. Awesome. Love that. Be able to save a design that we've customized as a new design. That's a good one. I like that one as well. I've chatted a little bit with the team about how we could, in many ways, really put a lot into the design tab here with lots of different settings, and that maybe all of those settings could be stored as a simple JSON file. And then you could just copy paste that JSON file across to any form you wanted, and it would pick up all your custom styles and all your settings. Because if this really, like, as we add more add-ons into this and more options and whatnot, it could be a lot of settings per form. So the ability to export that and go to different forms would be great. In the meantime, of course, Give does have out of the box the ability to duplicate a form. So once you go and you fine-tune this as much as you possibly want, you can just simply duplicate that form to another one and it will carry over everything. So
yeah. Yeah, from a development standpoint, our goal at this point is to build a really, really good foundation, so we can answer things like, oh, that would be a form design. Great, you can develop that. And then later we can come out with an add-on or something like that, where it's like the ability to make form designs right in WordPress. So it starts with a good foundation, and then we can just continue to add on top of this and make it easier and easier and easier to do these things. So I'm totally with you, Scott. We want to encourage and empower your laziness.
as much as we possibly can, please, for all of us. Cool. Well, let me just show also, we have made some really great progress on the making it available on the front end. This is also, you could see right now, this is the single form URL. So it's showing up on the front end from that specifically. And we do have the ability to submit a donation already. $50 one time. We do have Stripe here right now. I'm struggling with it just a little bit personally, so I'm going to show how it goes with the test donation. There it is. Hey, test. Thanks so much for your donation. We have success. I love how the check mark picks up that secondary color right there. That's a nice little touch. And it even picks up my little mistakes. Payment status completed. Everything looks great here. And of course, we can go to the donor dashboard that you're all familiar with already. Looking good. Cool. Well, that concludes our demo. I do actually have with us today two fellas I want to bring up. John and Kyle are both here with us today. And they are some of the developers helping form the future of this product here. So I want them to be able to answer questions as well. So we got 9 minutes left, everybody. I would love to continue to answer any and all questions that you have, or comments, or hopes, or aspirations, dreams. keep on bringing them.
Answered 18 questions.
Yeah, we answered a lot of questions, actually.
John or Kyle, is there anything that you want to add to any of the previously answered questions?
One thing I'll mention, Jason, is highlighting that we are building this using Gutenberg. So there's a WordPress block editor, and then Gutenberg is the foundation of that. We're building on that same foundation, which means as the WordPress community advances that foundation, we can advance along with it and contribute to it, which is nice, which means any improvements that the Give core team puts together, we can inherit into our visual donation form builder. And then that adds to the experience of building donation forms in Give.
Absolutely. I love that aspect of it for sure. Sandra is like, don't forget, you promised to talk about dates. I didn't say I was going to talk about dates exactly. I said we were going to talk about it. But dates, I don't know. Basically, I will say the path moving forward right now is that we are planning to release this on WordPress.org as soon as we possibly can. And we're going to put on it really clearly, the version number is going to be like 0.01 or something. This is developer speak, but it's not a 1.0. It's not something that we're going to say you should be doing a $100,000 campaign on this form. It's really mostly for you to get your hands on it, to test it out, see how it goes, and give us your feedback. That's why you saw that big feedback button there at the bottom. What we're aiming for as much as possible is that we're going to have that on WordPress.org sometime this spring. That's the plan, the intention, and that's about as close to a date as I'm willing to say at this stage. So we're really excited about that. So .org, and we're going to be getting feedback and input from everybody for a good amount of time until we feel like things are really, really, really stable before it gets pulled into the core free plugin. So it'll start first as essentially an add-on. Ooh, actually, I do want to show you that super quick. Let me share my screen one more time. This one. In the back end, you'll see here, essentially what it's going to look like is just like this. You'll see all forms, and add a form is where you add the classic form like this one right here, but this add next gen form and with the big beta on it is going to be available to you as well. And that way you'll be able to add your regular forms or you'll add a next gen form. And I did something today which I thought was pretty cool. Maybe these guys are going to think I'm crazy, but so here's our next gen form, right? Oh, well, that's the donation receipt. Let's go back. Here we go. I just wanted to see what happens when I get rid of it. So here's the visual donation form builder right here. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Now I built a form with it. And if I go over to all forms now, this is it actually. This is the form that I built. You could see 5 donations there and everything. It's still there even after I disabled the add-on. And if I go to the front over here and I refresh, guess what? You still got a form. Looking good. A little bit of a weird thing going on there with the donate now button.
That's pretty weird. So Scott, I do want to talk about backwards compatibility for a moment, because that is a big question that comes up. And especially for anybody in the future watching this video. So our plan for Give 3.0 is that it is going to be a fully backwards compatible with a migration forward. So what that means is that when you update to 3.0, nothing will change. Absolutely nothing will change. Everything is just going to continue to work exactly as it is right now. Your forms are going to still have the same legacy form settings, and they'll still work because we understand this is how nonprofits make money. We can't risk breaking your things. And so, but when you make a new form in 3.0, it will use the new form builder. There will also be a migration path. So what that means is that you can take an old form and you can migrate it to the new system. But when it does that, it's going to be a two-step process. Step one is going to be that it's going to copy your form and make a copy of it in the next gen way. Then you can test it and make sure that it's still working properly the way that you intend it to. And then you can tell it to migrate the data. So the donations associated with the old form, then you can associate it with the new one and safely get rid of the old one. We want it to be a very intentional process on your end, where if for some reason you go to migrate and let's say there is a problem, NextGen isn't doing what you needed to do, that's fine. The legacy form system will continue to work. And even add-ons like Form Field Manager, Square, whatever, those will continue to support what will be called the legacy form system for the entire 3.0 version. So we're taking that very seriously.
Yeah, let me make that a little bit just more specific. When Jason says give 3.0, that's when we're actually merging the NextGen Form Builder into the core plugin. We're going to make the NextGen Form Builder available on WordPress.org as its own standalone add-on of sorts. And that's for beta purposes. Tara is asking this question about when it's safe to start using NextGen. We are pushing it out as stable as it humanly possibly can be. But while it's in the beta form as an add-on on WordPress.org, I would not recommend using it for live donations in any way. It's really only purpose is for you to try it out and get familiar with it and to give us your input and your feedback so that we can improve it before it goes into the core free plugin. And that's when we're calling it 3.0. Give 3.0 comes at that stage. And when we put the NextGen Form Builder into the free plugin, that's when we're like, it's ready to go. It's ready for actual campaigns to start working. So really important questions there that we want to be really ultra clear on. Any other?
Matt, real quick, I want to emphasize the importance and the benefits of the featured plugin phase. We spend a lot of time talking to nonprofits. You know, Matt and Camber are always talking to nonprofits. Amanda in customer success, Ben in customer support. Spend a lot of time working with a lot of different nonprofits. Know the space really well. But we can't know every nonprofit's needs. So the more nonprofits we get to try this featured plugin, give us their feedback, the more informed we are on releasing a better product to the masses in the 3.0. So that's a very important step in this development process to make sure we get as much real feedback from real organizations as possible.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Well, we have hit the top of the hour. I want to thank Jason for being here, and John and Kyle. Thanks for all your hard work making this happen. Really excited for the next steps. We will continue to keep you all posted through our normal channels. Make sure you're subscribed to our email alerts. Check out our blog. So follow us on socials. We try not to be obnoxious there. I mean, that's Camber's job. So you got to watch out for her, but she does great. So thank you all so much. And we will see you around next time. Have a good one.
Thank you, everybody. See you.